does that mean? Well, most people are paid a salary and a bonus. And then we have profit share, and then we have all sorts of really cool perks. Everyone gets that, yeah? Well, when you are the leader of an organization, your compensation is not tied to revenue. It can't be. If it's only tied to revenue, what's the problem with that? You've all been to CEO boot camp. What's the problem? You don't care about your expenses. And you've all heard the adage that if you have a company with a sucky 10% margin that does $1 million a year, which means that it has $900,000 in expenses, and it says, we have a goal this year to double our profitability. We want to go from 100,000 in profit to 200,000. You have two options in the extreme. One of them is to what revenue? Double. You have to go from 1 million to 2 million, and you guys know how hard that can be. And the other option is to figure out how to take your expenses from 900,000 to what? 800,000. Which one is easier? When you are a low margin company, managing your expenses becomes really important. When you are a high margin company, focusing on revenue growth is really important. And for everyone here, there's a balance. And years ago when I promoted Carson to executive director, I basically tied his ship to me. Because as the owner of the company, guess when I get a distribution? When there's what? When there's profit. And I said, Carson, I love you. And I'm not gonna give you a bonus because you did good. I'm not gonna give you a bonus because you produced a certain amount of revenue. I'm gonna give your bonus the same way I get bonused, because that's what a distribution is as an owner. Your bonus is going to correlate perfectly to mine. You mismanage expenses, I don't get a distribution, you don't get a bonus. It's a very, very simple world. We are moving to everyone being treated as CEOs in training. And that means that compensation gets to level up in that vein. So the reason why I'm sharing that with you is we're going to be giving you later today some information on how do you produce ROI for a department? How do you really understand what ROI is for a person? And we're going to give you very specific numbers on exactly what based on 2022, we've analyzed your companies. Some of the new companies, we don't have that data, but for the most part, we're going to basically look back on 2022 and say, hey, based on 2023, we have historical data that Carson has spent countless hours and months analyzing. And we're basically going to give you guys an opportunity to figure out, what is the ROI of my team, my company, my department? And then I'm going to be rewarded based on growing it. And ultimately, ROI is going to be a function of two things: revenue and expenses. And the game is, I got to figure out how to maximize that profit margin. And the freedom and responsibility that's going to come to you is really cool, because right now, most of you don't have budgets. And guess what you're all going to be given? A budget. You know what's really cool about a budget? Kim might say, Kris, with the power of AI, I have figured out how to cut my staff in half, pay everyone twice as much money, and I have found a way to increase my ROI. And I'd say, cool. Kim could say, nope, I'm gonna run in the other direction. I found out that I can hire 5 more people, and based on the ROI of how I'm doing that, that's going to actually increase my ROI. And I'll say, cool. Freedom and responsibility means you've been given a guidepost. And then here's the cool part. If you make enough bad decisions, your ROI goes down, and then your bonus goes down. And if you do that long enough, then you're just in the wrong spot, in the wrong seat. But that's not true of anyone here. We want to give you the tools and the power and the ability to figure out how can you more directly alter your own ROI, just like a business owner thinks, just like a CEO needs to think. And some of you have extensive experience with that here, and for some of you, this is going to be a brand new game. I look at my conversations with Stacy the last couple of weeks, and I keep saying, get with Carson, get with accounting, look at the margin. You have to figure out how to increase margin 30%. And you have to figure out what events to push and which ones not, and how to reprice them to make sure that we do that, so that when we get to the end of the year, we hit the goal, and I can produce distributions to our shareholders in that organization that puts a smile on their face. That's not an easy task, but it does cause you to think different than 3 bookings a week. Now it's like, now I really need to get way more advanced in what my bookings look like. Now, you learning how to do this makes you a much more valuable asset. And that's an asset that I want to always say, wow, whatever field you're in, rock it out, do amazing with it, and there's always going to be a bigger opportunity. So you're going to see this team continue to grow and expand, and every time I do, guess what I'm looking for? I'm not looking for companies. Guess what we're really looking for? People. Very specific people. And yeah, you're gonna feel the call over the next 90 days to call anyone on your team that is not an A player. And we're gonna give you standards to help you know, so it's not just a floofy adjective. I hate adjectives. Adjectives are feeling words that don't actually give you a standard. A standard is a metric. It's a number, it's measurable, and you're gonna get some of that today. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that our success and where we go and what we do, the playing field is way bigger for you than you may really know or realize. Whatever role you're in, I see it as short term, meaning for most of you here, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year play before there's a way bigger opportunity presented. And I'm gonna give you the metric by which you can win, which ultimately is gonna come down to one thing. What is it called? ROI. You'll be able to measure the ROI of your department or your company, and ultimately, as that number trends in the right way, it means that you've been an amazing steward, you're growing it, and that's what's gonna breed more opportunity. So with all that being said, the question is, if we continue to grow and expand, Spencer's question from the last retreat just continues to hang on my mind. There's no point in scaling fast if you can't scale right, and if people get left behind, which is why our triple down and my personal double down is gonna be all spent on how are we developing you, or what opportunities are we giving you? When I take a look at what is required, this is the thesis. Like this is what I'm looking at when I'm like, okay, well, how are we gonna separate ourselves from other companies? Number one, people have to see a short horizon on opportunity. Like, if you don't have that in a company, you're gonna fall into the 85% that hate what they're doing. And by the way, it's your job to inspire your people with this vision of possibility and growth. The second thing that you need besides having an opportunity is you have to feel valued. And we're gonna spend some time on how a person feels valued, because my definition of feeling valued is that if your personal life sucks, your personal financial budgeting skills suck, your personal health sucks, your personal family relationships suck, you think that person's gonna come to work and be a productive A-player all-star? They go home to being a wreck, which by the way is so true of so many people, even if it's in just one element of life, and then they come to work, they put on a face and inauthentically try to pretend like they've got it all together. And there's always gonna be a correlation between leaders and followers, and leaders are people that have their stuff together. I'm trying so hard, Casey. I'm trying so hard. And so the question is, what are we doing to help people feel valued? And I think it looks like this. If you're in management, we're gonna call that CEO boot camp. And what we're gonna do is we're creating a program where you get to network and mentor with people that are more successful than you. You get to rub shoulders with people that have figured some of these things out, and everyone is sharing and trading knowledge and information and training and growing together. We're never gonna stop this. This is leadership training. And part of it is very technical, but how many of you realize that a lot of CEO boot camp is not the professional side, it's leadership training. It's how do you inspire? What's the SOP for avoiding drama, and how do you help people feel heard, and how do you resolve conflict? There's an art, and then there's a science, and CEO boot camps is to share both of that. And then I came out last month and I said, my heart really feels moved for the other 75% of our company that are not in management. And I can feel them left behind just asking, what about me? And the truth is, I don't want to give them CEO boot camp right now. That's not appropriate for them, but they need a different type of leadership training. And I know the best that I have to offer is what frankly people pay a lot of money for, and I've been actually challenging myself. Every time I've selected someone, and we have documentaries on some of these people now like the Joneses, but over the last 10 years as I've selected people and mentored them, they always produce astronomical results, whether it's losing 100 pounds and actually graduating to a better opportunity or whatever. The mentorship has been powerful, and I believe in mentorship, and I think everyone needs a coach and everyone needs a mentor. And the moment you say you got it is the moment you're unteachable, is the moment you can't expect a brighter future than whatever trajectory you're currently on. To create acceleration, you have to access outside knowledge and information. And so that's where Superhuman's gonna come in, and this is for all team members. Going to give you a little flavor of some of that if you don't know what it is. And Superhuman, I'm going to say that that's spelled right. This is about giving everyone an opportunity to receive the feedback and information that no one is going to tell them. I have a sister-in-law I love very much. She's very confused why she's not married. I am not confused why she's not married. And in her family dynamic, no one would dare provide the useful information that could help her out. And I might even be wrong, but right now there's just a total closed-mindedness to any other perspective. What there is there's bitterness, there's closed-mindedness, there's high wall boundaries, everything is marked private, and there's problems that are solvable. I know I'm speaking really openly, but I look at that and I'm like, we live in a world where people have problems and we protect people from the truth. What we do is we support inadequacy. That's the problem with the 5 people you hang out with that are like you, is that we have a tolerance for change that is very minimal amongst our close group friends. And the whole idea of a mentor is to get an outsider's perspective that is so far beyond where you're at. So when Casey, I'm doing a year of mentorship with him and Ryan, and I'm having conversations. I'm talking to Ryan, and Ryan's like, I think I've exercised twice in my entire life. And this is a middle-aged man. And he also thought that an entire pizza had 500 calories. And I'm like, oh, no one has closed the gap for you. No one has helped you figure this game out. I got it. Like, we all have gaps. In this room, by the way, I acknowledge it. You guys, you have your stuff together. If you're vulnerable and honest, there's stuff you don't, but you're doing clearly better than most people, right? Well, Superhuman is actually designed to go in the space of saying, hey, what are all of the different, by the way, there's no school for happiness, there's no school for success, and we have one now. Superhuman is not about financially getting rich. Let them go to financial genius, because I think everyone should have a short horizon game plan for their own personal finances, and part of Superhuman will teach the game of money at a private level so that everyone puts themselves in a position of winning. But it is going to dive deep into health, relationships, self-care, the kind of conversations that people need to hear. We're going to talk about image. We're going to talk about how you nurture yourself, how you take care of yourself. And the reality is when I sit down with someone and I take a look at the things that I teach here, they're almost entirely anemic and non-existent in their world. And they can't figure out that you're not someone worth following. You're not a leader. Who would want to follow you? You are not inspiring. But no one's going to tell you. And no one's going to tell you why, or no one's going to tell you how to fix it. Guys, Superhuman is, for me in my heart right now, I look at my life and I'm like, this is going to be one of the top 5 things that I've ever done in my life so far, because it is a pure give to our people to say, hey, I'm going to love you enough that if you opt in, that we're going to create a circle where this information can be taught. There's going to be accountability. There's going to be pods. We're going to grow together. We're going to learn. Some people are going to fall out and say, that's not for me, or that's too hard for me. I think the majority of our people are going to cling and say, wow, this is an insanely valuable resource because I get a chance to learn from someone that's figured some of these out, that's actually willing to share these things and charge me nothing, but I'm going to have to pay the price of some time. And then I'm going to make some commitments to improve and better my life. And I will confidently tell everyone here in this room that wherever you have felt plateaued in your health, your personal relationships, in your finances, or just in how you view yourself and your own worth, there will be massive level ups. And that's why it's optional, because I think it's really weird for a company to mandate. We would never do that. But it's for people that feel called to it. And I don't care whether it's 20 people out of 200 or whether it's 100 people or all 200. For me, it's about making sure that the people that they don't have a resource in their life to pour deeply into them. Our goal is to make sure that that's provided. And I'm just telling you, as I've been preparing this, it is going to be powerful. It is 100% going to be life-changing. And what I hope it does is prepare all team members for greater opportunity because they're getting their stuff together. They're getting their act together. They're getting their house organized. They're getting their body organized. They're getting their mind organized. If people see if they have an opportunity and they see a short horizon, 1 to 5 years to get where they want to go, if they feel valued, if they feel invested in, I think these are some of the most important things we can do. I'll just put up here that the other great resource is everyone is permitted in the company to attend and be a part of Financial Genius on our weekly calls. I have members of our team that are doing this. They are reorganizing their life. And the thing is, when you look at our company as a whole, there are some people that say, I have so much proximity to greatness that I don't participate in it because I know that I could always access it if I want to. And then you have people that are hungry. They are starving, and they will participate and they will play. So my personal hope, and this list is going to keep altering and changing because we're constantly asking, what do our people need? What we're doing, guys, is we're attracting A players that are growth-minded, that want to be invested in, that are looking for their level ups, and they're willing to do the hard work to get there.
Everything falls apart. 'Cause even